want to talk to you about something that we don't always say out loud. The season you're in, if it's hard, but you're still showing up anyway, this episode is a reminder that growth doesn't wait for perfect timing. It rewards consistency, courage, and putting yourself in the damn room. Welcome back to the Jessica Bergio Show. I'm your host, Jess Bergio. And if you're here, it's because you're not waiting around for perfect timing anymore. You're in it, you're doing the work, and becoming her in real time. I've heard that being said a lot lately, and it has never resonated with me more. And today I want to talk about something that doesn't always get said, or definitely doesn't get said enough. Sometimes the seasons you're in are hard, and you still have to show up anyways. If you're a mother, if you're a business owner, if you're somebody who has any sort of responsibility in their life, you know that at times it can be very full. Life can life at you. And yet here you are, here I am, still showing up, right? I've been recording episodes, showing up, leading events, posting content if you've seen on social, doing the things. And I hope you have been too, because I know it's not easy. And I know you know it matters. But that's why I'm doing it too, because it matters. This show used to be more about strategy and bringing you kind of behind the scenes of what's working for people in their business and just really showcasing like how to become super successful, but more on like the front side of things, not the back side of things, the inner workings of what it really takes to hold the vision and the mission and the impact that you really want to create. So let's be real. It's really not about the how anymore. We can figure that out. Hello, right? We have all of the access to the information. It's about the who. And that's not something that you can ChatGPT. It's about who you're becoming truly, the essence of you. How are you showing up, even when no one's clapping? Because let me tell you, no one was clapping in the beginning when I started posting on social media. Nobody was downloading the episodes when I started this podcast 6 years ago. Nobody was showing up to my virtual events or buying my courses or investing in me in any sort of way because no one knew who I was. There was no momentum, no visibility, no nothing. And so fast forward, I started my Instagram account when Kai was a baby. So obviously I didn't start taking it seriously until about 7 years ago. That was about a year before I started the podcast. And if you notice lately, I've been seeing a lot of growth on Instagram. I think I have over 2,200 new followers in the last maybe week. And that's not random. Have you ever heard the saying, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success? Well, that's kind of what's happening right now. And it's because I'm doing the freaking work. One post a day now, maybe two, reels, carousels, checking out what the trending audios are, being up in my stories like I always am. I'm not posting to stay busy. I'm posting to connect and actually create the content that I know and have seen work for so many people on social media and in the online space, period. Because we all know that more eyes equals more opportunities, which then equals more clients, which hopefully then equals more impact. And ultimately, if you have any sort of business, whether you're a service provider like I used to be behind the chair, or you're in the online space serving clients, or you're just wanting to be a thought leader, potentially write a book, have a podcast, speak on stages, be invited to speak into other people's communities, it's because you want to create an impact. Your experience somehow has vetted you the ability to share a perspective shift that could change someone's life. That's impact. And you can't do that by hiding. No one wins if they're hiding. You've got to treat your presence like it actually matters, because it does. And when you start taking yourself seriously as a business owner and a content creator, so will everybody else. And that's literally like what I've been getting as far as responses on the content that I'm posting is people might not agree with everything that I post, but they definitely can see where I'm coming from. They're engaging with the posts. And I've actually asked a few new people, I can't DM everybody back that started following me, right? It's 2,200 messages. Half of them are private pages, so you can't message those people. But the few people I have reached out to that I see have real accounts, because I'm sure some of this is bots, but it's all of my shit's being pushed on the explore page now. It's because they want real, authentic content. They want people who are real, people who are posting selfies, not just curated pictures, even though that one photo of me did really well and has hit almost 100,000 views on social, which is crazy. That would be probably my most viral post that I have. And it was just me standing in my truth, owning the season of life that I'm in. And that resonated with people. I wasn't selling. I wasn't even necessarily giving value. I was just giving a perspective. And I will tell you that by showing up, it's created more opportunities, which we all know is the case. And so I had a podcast episode drop on the Rich Summers report just this past week that their team does an insane amount of content for their podcast. I mean, at one point I hope to get to that level. I mean, it's a 3-camera setup, full studio, and they iterate, reiterate, test, A/B test on TikTok, YouTube. I mean, there's tons of shorts that they've created out of this episode, which are getting blasted everywhere. So in the last 2 days, even, I've gotten new emails, invites to speak, people just reaching out. And it's not because that potential podcast went viral by any stretch, but it was because I became visible. That in turn, with the content that I've been posting, with the work I've been doing, with the other 370 plus episodes that I've recorded on this show, along with the other 2 to maybe 300 episodes that I've been on other people's shows, other rooms I've been in, that's why people can see me now. And you never know who's watching, but I promise you, they are watching, whoever they are. We always like to say they, right? Them. But I want to also talk about some real stuff that happens to me still on the regular. Like, you might think I get nervous going into a room with like Rich in the podcast studio, but I feel so comfortable there because I truly love that type of content and connecting. And I kind of love that hot seat. I don't know what he's going to ask me, where this conversation is going to go type of energy, because I've learned that no matter what I say, it's my truth. I don't have to perform. I don't have to be perfect. I don't even have to know the fucking answer to the question he's going to ask me. So that gives me so much peace in my body that I am so regulated and grounded when I'm in those rooms or in those situations that I can't help but be myself, right? Take it or leave it, like it or you don't. And so with that power, you would think that when I host my own events that I would be just as excited, but it's so different when you host an event rather than being like a guest on someone's show, I will say, because there's days that I don't want to go to in-person events. I'm sure you get that, right? It sounded good at 7 a.m., but by like 5 o'clock, the day has taken over and all you want to do is go home and not people anymore or network or do the things. And that's literally why I created the Entrepreneur Success Series, is so I have to show up. What are things that you can put in place in your life that force you to show up even when you really don't want to? This podcast is one of them for me. My social media platform is one of them for me. Having children, being in relationships, this event. Literally, I still get in my head and I still have to choose to show up. But guess what? That is what leadership looks like. That is what true ownership of a business, of your brand, of who you are looks like. Period. Point blank. Right? And I tell you, like, I really still do get in my head. And sometimes for me, I don't know if it was like a sports analogy or because I did play sports growing up as a kid. One, I'm super competitive, but two, like a lot of times showing up just means putting your game face on and doing the damn thing. Like, I know it sounds cliche, but can you just sometimes push through and put your game face on and get what needs to get done? I'd love this episode to be a reminder for you that you don't always need, thrown up air quotes, a strategy. You just freaking need to show up. And yes, with a little bit of help from like ChatGPT and maybe your friends or your therapist or your coach or your mentor, you can figure out how to stay consistent, showing up, doing what you need to do, not just checking the box, right? Because that's just staying busy to stay busy. And I'm really excited actually because I get to do an in-person event again. Here we go, in person, right? And co-host the Ladies Who Launch event with my girlfriend, Jess Dresser, who hosts that, but brings me in as her co-host and moderator for the panel. And I also get to run a huddle, which are small groups where we get to break out and do session work. And this year, my huddle's all around being more efficient. I'm going to run them through the Gary Keller 1-3-5 exercise on goal setting, one for life and one for business. Because if you don't know what you want, you're not going to know how to get there. And if you think certain tasks that you're doing are going to get you where you need to go, you have to track that, because the 5 things you're doing might not be what you need to be doing. So maybe only 2 of them are actually moving the needle. So you double down on the 2. For me, that looks like podcasting and social media. Less in my emails, less in being on other people's podcasts right now, but that's still like I'm picking and choosing where I'm putting my time, and it's paying off. So again, I guess you could call that strategy, but sometimes we just need to show up. You know what? I do take that back. That is kind of a strategy. But that's the thing. In that huddle, like I wouldn't know that that is my current strategy if I didn't look from a high level of what it is the goal was supposed to be and how I thought I was going to get there. Sometimes you got to take a step back and look more high level of like, are these tasks that I'm doing actually moving the needle? Because you could be saying, I'm writing the emails every week, I'm posting on social media, but no one's following me, no one's engaging, no one opens my emails, no one's clicking to buy, right? No one's asking me to be on their podcasts. That probably means your messaging is off, or you're not in alignment with how you're showing up versus what you're selling, or vice versa. Or maybe you're just new and nobody knows you. So you have to keep going in order to become seen. And that was almost the name of this podcast, Seen, because I feel so powerful about creating opportunities for yourself to be seen. And a lot of us as women are told to not be loud and not put ourselves out there like that. And there are so many things that I can go back in my past and find evidence from that have helped me build that confidence to show up and truly be authentically myself. But I've been a different version of myself over the last 7 years in the online space. I've had to find my way. I've had to find my voice. And this podcast helps me. It has helped me. And I've recorded many, many episodes around how I truly feel, one, that this podcast changed my life, and two, how it helped me find my authentic voice. And I mean, in that of itself, what a gift. What a gift. All the time, the effort, the reps I put in has made this such a powerful, impactful thing that if I stopped tomorrow, if this was my last episode, I would feel so proud of myself for at least showing up, putting in the work, being able to say I did it, and actually having had some impact on people outside of my inner circle all over the world. I can see where these downloads are coming from. They're not just people in San Diego, they're all over the world, which is insane because how amazing of an opportunity is it to be able to create such a ripple effect of impact all over the world. I could have never done that behind the chair if I had stayed playing small. And I loved my career. And I talk about it in many, many past episodes about how much being in the beauty industry helped create this persona of confidence. And when I got really good at the skill I was doing, right? Podcasting is also a skill. Showing up on social media is also a skill. It all boils down to your work ethic and the ownership and the leadership that you're taking over who it is you want to be seen as, who it is you want to become, who it is you want to be seen as in the industry you're in, right? There's a top 1% and 2% of every industry. You see people who struggle in real estate, people who kill it, people who work behind the chair doing hair, who barely make ends meet, people that are making 7 figures. Why is there such a contrast? It's like that in every industry. And now I have an inside view with my husband who works in corporate. It's the same for them. There's the top 1% who go to something called the National Achievers Conference every year. There are people who get it every single year, and there are people who don't even come close to qualifying. It's everywhere. So it's up to you. And if you're listening to a podcast like this, you're someone who is seeking that motivation, that inspiration, me to be a mirror for you to hear exactly what you needed to hear today, to light that fire under your ass, to go take that fucking action, to show up today, to start the podcast, to restart your podcast, to re-engage with your social media, to really look inwards to see, how do I want to show up in this season of my life and in my business? And, do I want to continue doing what I'm doing? Is what I'm doing fulfilling? So many questions, right? We could trail off on so many different directions, but today I just really want you to remind yourself that you're not here to perform. I talk about this when I share different pieces of content. And I love multiple people sent me the one that Gary Vee recently posted that was literally like, quit fucking around with the lighting, fuck your makeup, fuck the script, and just turn the camera on. Record your life, share the behind the scenes of what you're going through, who you are, and know that that can be enough at least to start. Right? Once you've built an empire like Gary Vee, it's whatever. We're not comparing apples to apples anymore. And some of you are so stuck in looking at other people's level 12 that you won't even hit level 1 because you're stuck in comparison. I'm never going to get there. I can never grow something like that. No, you sure as fuck can if you don't start, right? And even being on Rich's podcast last week reminded me where I really want to go with this show and what I really ultimately want to create. And he hasn't done it by only podcasting. He uses the podcast as a vehicle to attract people into his world. It's obviously content he can post everywhere of videos of him, videos of his guests, which then gets people who learn what he does and sees that he has not only a mastermind, that he does coaching for boutique hotel owners. He also does probably private one-to-one. He has a Summers Capital, I think. So they have like an investment fund. The guy used to be an air traffic controller. He used to be an air traffic controller until he decided that who he was no longer who he wanted to be. And somebody introduced him to the idea of investing in real estate and gave him an opportunity, but he took the risk. And that in and of itself is scary, right? Because maybe the season he was in wouldn't have allowed him to cash out his 401k, but the season he was in did. And he made that choice and he took that risk and it paid off dividends. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of bumpy stories in there and we're going to get him on the show here pretty soon so we can dig into exactly the moment that he decided where he was where he no longer wanted to be. And I want you to ask yourself that question right now. Is where you're at right now where you want to continue to be? If it is, great. How do you double down and make it even better? And if it's not, how do you pull yourself out of what you're currently looking at every single day, feeling so overwhelmed, so stuck, and figure out a new plan? Do you hire that mentor? Do you get into that mastermind? Do you get help? These are the questions maybe you can sit with today after you listen to this episode. I would love to hear your feedback on the show. If you're loving the new content, if you love the rebrand, I love a good thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please do. It means the world. Leaving a rating and review is literally such a love language for any content creators. That would mean the ultimate to me. If you made it to the end of this episode, please scroll down to the bottom. If you're on Apple or Spotify, you can leave a rating and review. And it goes so far to help get this podcast out into the real world. And if you are looking for mentorship in 2026, please message me. Let's chat. I want to help you create that visibility, to help you show up, to be consistent, to be seen. And if you're ever in San Diego and you want to attend one of our events, the Entrepreneur Success Series, we are still hosting those currently, but we do have a special announcement that is been in the works for many, many months, and that is the Cabo retreat. So if you are interested in the Cabo retreat, down below in the show notes, you'll find the wait list is still open. We've got a good group of people who are on that wait list. So with that being said, that will be mid-April this year that we'll be going down to Cabo for a probably 4-day, 3-night retreat with some structured masterminding, but also some open flow masterminding, meaning like working breakfast that we'll have together, and then time to relax and recharge with other women who are in the same space as you. It's really important to connect with people who have like-minded goals, visions, even seasons that they've been in, so you can share those experiences and really kind of get out of your head and into, again, the space where you can free up thinking, and how you start feeling is everything. So again, sending you guys so much love. So fun to be on this podcast with you. See you on the next one.